All right, we are live on YouTube, so we will go ahead and get started. I now call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. on Monday, August 10th, 2026. We are missing quite a few folks tonight, so we will not have a quorum. So we'll just save some time there and we can jump right into it. Have a lot of things to discuss. So I know Maricela's on, and I've never actually pronounced your name, but please tell me if I'm mispronouncing it.
It's
And
fine, it's correct.
okay, great. And I'm sure you don't want to be here the whole night, so I think we should let you give your updates, and then Commissioner Grant can give her updates on the beautification day, and then I'll give some updates on some of the economic development stuff, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maricela, and I am from Councilmember Nadel's office. I will be sharing a few updates this evening. So the first update is a $400,000 DSLBD grant for Lower Georgia Avenue has been passed in budget. The notice for funding availability is to be determined. Now would be a good time to start reaching out to stakeholders who may be able to take advantage of these funds. The second update is a $20 million budget increase was approved for Parkview Rec project. While major budget hikes can sometimes force a project to be rebid, it may not be required here since a full modernization was already part of the original request. DPR and DGS are confirming internally. And the last update is that DMPED is working with project team on timeline for closing on financing by next fall for Bruce Monroe and working with DPR on parallel timeline for park engagement and design or construction. And those are my updates. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to jot those down and share them with the team so that we can have a response in the next meeting.
Thank you for that
Commissioner.
update, Maricela. I appreciate it. Just to confirm, is the money for the project in the budget as well for Bruce Monroe?
I cannot confirm. I will have to check in with David Menny on that.
Okay, thank you.
I think we were told that the budget it was in place, the money that we needed, but now it's just like the step of financing it is where things are getting
Right.
tricky. But yeah, following up on that would
But
be
yeah,
helpful.
thank you so much, Maricela. That was very helpful.
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight. Just a quick question on the Parkview Rec Center. I've had a couple parents ask me if there are plans to keep the pool, the children's pool, in place, either during or after construction. Do you know what the plan is there?
I'm sorry, is the question to keep the pool open during
Well,
construction?
just questions generally about what will happen with the children's pool. Will it stay open during construction? And if not, will there be a pool there after the construction, or what are the plans regarding that? And it's okay if you don't know the answer to it right now. Just, yeah, someone
Okay,
was
yeah,
asking me
I
about it. So
am just putting that into our chat so that they know that these are questions that are coming up and have a
perfect.
response for the next meeting or before that meeting happens.
Perfect. What questions do other folks have? All right, seeing none. Anything else you wanted to share, Maricela? All right.
Nothing, those are all my updates.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Commissioner Grant, do you want to give updates on the beautification day?
Absolutely. I will go on screen because I think a lot of what I have to say is best if visualized, if I may. So let's see if I can do that. Oops, wait, first. Oh my goodness. I'm usually very good at this. Where is where's the share screen on the
Should be in the
here it is.
bottom in the
Oh
front
yeah,
page.
mine was contracted because of the participants window being open, my fault. Okay, let's do this. And I'm going to share. Okay, can you all see that? Great. Okay, I'm going to start the slideshow from the beginning. Okay, so what I'm sharing is basically the outcome of a walk that we did over the weekend and actually prior to that to survey the tree boxes along Georgia Avenue. I'd like to thank Alice for doing some early reconnaissance of that of the corridor. But basically what we did was we took a walk along the corridor between Columbia Road and New Hampshire and discovered 103 tree boxes that are between Columbia Road and New Hampshire on either the even and odd side of the street. And one of the things that we wanted to do was, figure out a way to have a successful beautification day where we actually beautified a select number of blocks on Georgia Avenue, but also did that in a way for maximum impact. And so I thought it was a good idea to focus on continuous blocks and to narrowly scope the number of continuous blocks. Again, this is for maximum impact that brings beauty to Georgia Avenue, but also makes for a feasible project on Beautification Day. And so we figured that it'd be good to do 2 continuous blocks, odd side and even side, but also include the opportunity to have 4 continuous blocks depending on the number of volunteers. So if we have a lot of volunteers, like a whole bunch, we would select 4 continuous blocks. But if we had a very few number, we can go down to as little as 1. And this also allowed for the opportunity to really prepare those areas and get a sense for the area that we're dealing with and become familiar with it so that we can have a really successful day where people aren't doing things they don't want to do or things that are impossible to do. So I thought it was really important to have selection criteria. And one of those criteria included previously developed tree boxes that needed work. That way, all we would have to do is just install plants and mulch. Also, areas that tree boxes that were sandy and had hard dirt. That way, all we would have to do on beautification day is create dirt mounds, basically 6 inches of dirt, install the plants, and then add mulch. And then finally, there are one of the criteria was, what do we do with those concrete or boxes that are mostly concrete and have a lot of large roots, large tree roots. We can clean those up. So there's still something to do. We can clean, we can plant, and we can beautify all at the same time. I would say, based on my walk, I don't know, Alice, you might feel differently, that, we have a pretty broad number of tree boxes that fit into all of these categories. So that has implications for the types of materials that we're going to use, and I think the news is good. So we'll talk about that a little bit once we get to that point. But this is what we're dealing with. Thanks also to Josh for coming out with me on a really hot Sunday and Jen Kuiper for walking with me on Saturday. But this is what we came up with during the walk. The top boxes here on the left and right are boxes that are the first category that I talked about. They've kind of been worked on, but need to be spruced up. They might have weeds and some grass growing in them. Some of the plants may have died or they might need plants. Those are easy. That's low-hanging fruit. That's the real fun stuff and where you can get into putting plants in fairly easily. The second type of tree box that we saw on Georgia Avenue is to the left, and that is tree boxes that are sandy, that have sandy hard soil. It's turnable, but it's kind of hard to turn. So one solution is to create a dirt mound, break up the dirt a little bit here and create a dirt mound and plant into the dirt and add mulch. Or we can just add mulch if the dirt turns out to be unturnable. We just don't know what's really underneath a lot of these, but a good sign that the dirt is turnable is there's some kind of grass or weed growing through these. Now, one of the things that Jen and I did during the walk on Saturday is we literally took a spade, a big shovel, and we were just pounding into the dirt to see if the sand would turn. And in most cases, it did turn. But in other cases, we've got what happened with the tree box here on the left. This is a tree box that has some of those big tree roots that I was talking about, and also concrete. If you look underneath these tree roots, you'll notice that there's some concrete here. I don't know how in the world those tree roots grew on top of the concrete. I don't know how they were installed that concrete would grow underneath them, but there are a number of tree boxes like that. Again, the good news is that all we would have to do is either clean them or we can just add mulch to those. No problem with having to worry about digging, planting, just put some nice mulch around them or clean them out if there's no room for dirt in those cases. So this is an example of another type of tree box that we saw on some of the streets that we walked on Georgia Avenue. A lot of grass, that happens. The good news about grass is that we know something grows there. This is something we'll have to tackle either before the planting day or during the planting day. I'm not so sure what people's appetite is for doing this kind of work, but if you're a gardener like I am, I'm not a master gardener, I'm just, novice. I just like to get my hands in the dirt. I don't mind pulling up stuff like this, but somebody else might. So one of the things that Josh and I were talking about when we walked yesterday was maybe getting a volunteer who really likes to do this stuff on planting day or before, a couple of days before the planting day, to get rid of these grassy, weedy sections or boxes so that we can plant underneath them. Another thing that can happen on the beautification day is where you come across a tree box that might not be plantable. At least we can report it to 911 and identify these, bricks that were dumped here or these, traffic cones that were dumped here, and just call it into 911 for cleaning them up. So that's another way that people can contribute to beautification. Okay. So from the walk, we came up with some candidate blocks for beautification. Again, based on the blocks being continuous, but also a couple of other important variables as well. But let me first go through the blocks that I think would be ideal for this. And again, I'm not married to any of this. Anybody and everybody can offer a view here. The block between Park and Morton, and the block between Morton and Lamont. They have some of those tree boxes that we showed were plantable, or at least can be where we can put mulch in there. So fairly easy effort, a reasonable effort. In addition, what's nice about those blocks is that we've got Hook Hall on one side, Midlands on the other, and then we've got some businesses also on Morton and Lamont. I just couldn't remember what they were when I was putting this slide together. Other continuous blocks from this area might also include the area between Park and Newton, where we have Yoga Heights. In fact, that was one of the pictures that I showed, I think. No, that was a different yoga studio. And the area between Lamont and Kenyon. And that includes Kiefer on the odd side with Heat the Spot. And then on the even side, that includes Salsa with Sylvia. that studio. And that was, in fact, one of the pictures that I showed that had the really nice long mulched area that didn't have any plants. So the benefit of this approach is that it's very focused. And because we're not doing all planting, we don't have to buy so many plants. We can purchase the mulch and we can purchase the soil in bags because we're not doing so many tree boxes. We're not doing all 103 between Columbia and New Hampshire. It's a very focused project. And importantly, their businesses nearby. And that has implications for sustainability, which is a significant challenge, I think, for this project, aside from just putting it together, but the sustainability piece, right? Because when all of this is said and done, these plants are going to grow. And one of the things I think that's important is making sure that we choose low growers. DDOT did say very specifically that we should not plant plants that grow more than, I think, 16 inches, but I think we should do even smaller growth plants to the extent that we can still find them, and I think we certainly can. But we went by Van Ness neighborhood over the weekend and took a look at their tree box beautification project, which was done in 2021. 5 years later, this is what it looks like. And this was on Connecticut Avenue, I think somewhere around Vesey and Albemarle. It looks really nice, but those plants are over 5 feet tall. You can't see from this picture, but they're over 5 feet tall. And that's not what we want for Georgia Avenue. I'm sure there's a good reason why the plants got out of control. People probably couldn't, take care of them. There also might be, from the pollinator perspective, that when plants grow like this, their seeds can, spread about and populate. But I think there's something else going on here. I just think this area became very difficult to take care of by neighbors. And there is an entire 2 blocks of very large tree boxes like this. But what's really nice about it is that they did install some signs that said, why does our garden look like this? And it explains the importance of letting plants grow and letting the seeds drop and making them available for pollinators. And then they also have an explanation of the plants being native and why it's important. And that's certainly a goal of this project, is to make sure that we plant native species. And again, I don't think that's going to be too hard to do. So that's kind of the long and short of what we did over the weekend. And I think just in terms of next steps for this project, I think it's important for us just to get a final sign off from DDOT, their official okay, get some tips if they have any. We want to always have them as a partner in these projects. I would like to talk to the Van Ness Project Master Gardener, Kathy Sykes, who led the Van Ness Project. I think she would have a lot to say about best practices or good practices, lessons learned, where to get stuff. And I really would like to kind of probe her on that probability on that sustainability piece. We also need to conduct outreach, I think, to businesses to get their at least approval in principle for putting the plant or for doing what we're doing in front of their businesses. I just think it's good business. But it's also, I think, helpful and beneficial for us because they can be useful partners in sustaining the planting when we're finished with it. Somebody needs to water these plants once a week when it's hot. Once a week or so when it's hot, and pull weeds. And so if neighbors can't do that, and hopefully they can, when neighbors can't do that, hopefully businesses will be able to step in and do that as well. It also promotes engagement between people who take care of the tree boxes, the residents who will take care of them, I hope, and the businesses as well. We need to identify volunteers to pick up plants and stuff and materials and be hubs for the materials. I think Josh and Elliot Kalor offered to do some work on that. And we need to contact the plant sources. I'm happy to do that with Patrick Craik. And maybe we can consult with Wangari as well. I think Josh might be willing to do that. I can't remember, Josh, if you actually committed to that. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken here. And we really should start advertising for this week, pushing this out word of mouth on Facebook pages and whatnot have you. And finally, Soma, I believe, offered to help us figure out the refreshments piece. We can have water and some things on the street, depending on how many people we have. I know we're going to have an RSVP, which is great for determining that. Or maybe we can pop into one of the restaurants and have some food there. I haven't thought very much about the refreshments part of that yet, but I know Alice, um, very creative, might be able to help us think that through as well. So I'll just pause here and take some questions. And if any of you on this call have not been involved in this conversation, if you want to be involved in this effort, we are well, eager, and you are welcome to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Grant. I probably won't be able to help with like the pickup of large materials because we have a very tiny car. I can get my bike out somewhere, which might have more
I think I
carrying
made a
capacity.
mistake. Yeah, I might have made a mistake with that,
It's
Josh.
okay.
That's yeah. Sorry.
And we can also just email out to volunteers and other folks on this committee.
Great.
And then I'm going to be reaching out to Wangari once we finalize the survey, which hopefully we can do on this meeting tonight, so that they can advertise it among their people. And I can ask about plants. Is the specific ask just like, do you have?
Where do we get it? Yeah, where can we get some at reasonable cost?
Okay, just like sourcing. Okay, cool. I can ask them that.
Yeah, it's a little late. It's getting late, but a lot of nurseries are cleaning out, so there are a lot of sales, which is this is the ideal window to get those.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to purchase refreshments. I will double check with ANC this week.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
But sorry, I didn't mean to prevent anyone else from asking questions. There were like a few things that were pointed at me, so I figured I should answer them. Other folks in the call, what questions or comments do you have?
Well, Commissioner Grant, I was recently in the small town of Neenah, Wisconsin, and they actually run a program where they have businesses adopt tree boxes. So they have both businesses, nonprofits, and just community groups say, I want to adopt a tree box. And they allow them to do like art displays, advertisements for their businesses, because I do know that 103 tree boxes is quite a lot for just, flowers.
And I'm glad you brought that up because there are 103 and this is kind of a proof of concept pilot project, which is why we're starting on the smaller side, but there are other tree boxes. And to your point, residents or neighbors, businesses, we have several civic associations in the area can very easily adopt one or two of those or three tree boxes along the corridor and keep this project going and do planting and mulching on their own. That's my hope. That's my wish for this project.
Yeah, and we'll have as part of the survey a question if anyone wants to adopt a particular tree box. So
Logan asks, what are the metrics for success? Logan, I'm an evaluation person here. An evaluation hand as well. That's a great question. I haven't quite determined what the metric of success is. Measuring the sustainability is very difficult. We can say, well, are people still taking care of the, plant or the tree boxes a year out, or into the next season? That might be one measure, or we can just maybe take a block, and evaluate that block based on some metrics. But that's definitely a great question, and I will think of some metrics for success. It's a great question.
For me personally, I just think like if we get 30 to 40 people that actually show up to build community with one another, I think like that itself is a success, and would like to capitalize on that for other volunteer opportunities and find ways to like keep engaging those folks and get other folks to want to come out. Because you're right, this isn't, it'll be nice if it's a one-day thing, but it'll be even better if we can get like some sustainability around it and keep a couple of blocks of Georgia Avenue looking neat.
Right. Because the tricky thing about when you do planting, if you don't take care of them, it gets ugly. And we're trying to do the opposite, right? I mean, we're trying to beautify Georgia. So we don't want this project to, make the situation worse than it is, So if we put something in a box, hopefully we can, impress this point we can press this point to the participants. Once this goes in, we need to nurture it. We need to take care of it to keep the corridor beautiful, to bring traffic to the corridor and business to the corridor. So there's a greater good here. But I
I'll
do
be
appreciate
honest.
these too. Go ahead, Shas. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'll be honest. I don't think we can make the boxes look worse if we're doing something for them, because a lot of them look really bad and have like the
What?
ugly sandy soil, and just putting mulch down will make it look nicer. I guess like maybe it would be a little worse if the mulch just like got all over the sidewalk, but like even if we're just mulching, I think it'll look nicer. And I saw Alice went off mute, so I don't want to prevent, and other folks. Yeah, feel free to chime in.
No worries. Um, yeah, Audra, have we actually, I can't remember if you mentioned it already when you were showing your PowerPoint, but have we decided yet on the blocks that you want? Because that'll,
Yes.
oh, you have. Okay. So the addresses that Jennifer sent today that she wanted contacts for like property owners, for example, and outreach, like is that the settled
I
upon?
believe, yes, I believe it should be based on that discussion. She was not with Josh and I with Josh and me when we did our walk yesterday and made some decisions, but
Okay.
some of those blocks are also based on the
Yeah.
walk that Jen and I did. So I'm gonna step out on faith and say, yes, it is based on,
Yeah,
it is
it
based on the
included
walk.
call your mother and Kwee and a
Yes,
couple other addresses or whatever. So,
yes. Let me go back to that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think we
I'm
said,
Yes.
I was gonna
okay.
say, I think we said between Irving and Lamont to start, and maybe further.
Right.
Who?
Irving and Lamont between
No, sorry, Lamont and Morton. Okay,
Morton. Yeah,
I
starting at
Yeah.
misremembered.
Morton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It sounds like Jennifer was gonna also reach out to some of this, like some of those individuals, but I'm happy to also like talk to the owners of Kwee and like reach out,
Okay.
call your mother. I think from a perspective of like beauty, like this to me, it really plays into a lot of the placemaking and like almost
Mhm.
in a way like an extension of facade improvements that like a lot of
Yes.
businesses are always wanting to do anyway, and anything to kind of like make their businesses look presentable and attractive
Yeah.
for clients. So this idea that Marcela mentioned on her trip about getting a business to like potentially adopt it, I think is a cool idea. And I can sort of
I
tentatively
love it. Yeah.
approach it in that way for them for the sustainability aspect, and see what they say. And even if like we can get them to even, some of their staff to like participate. I know when we did a cleanup a couple like 2 months ago, initially the owners of Kiki were even saying that they thought their staff would be
Oh,
happy to
wonderful.
like participate. So, if we like approach it in a way where it's like, you're welcome to send staff to like be a part of this, but if you guys can adopt these and help keep them watered or whatever, should be
Beautiful.
hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah, something they'd
No,
be
but yeah,
interested in.
great. Yeah. Also, I'll connect you and Jen on that task. And I think I mentioned that to her that you and her
Yeah,
should
well,
definitely.
she sent an email today. I think you're on the email, like asking for contacts for a number of property owners, like either business, like who the business owners' contacts are or
Okay.
the property
That's
owners.
great.
And I sent that information, well, what I could. But
Okay.
if like she needs additional support, like,
Okay.
I'm happy to do that. And then
Awesome.
as far as the promotion, I know Josh, you and I have talked about this regarding like Instagram your like a flyer that you'll make for socials, but for the whenever you're okay with the like sign up thing that you asked us to review, I was planning on adding that to the newsletter that I'm sending out tomorrow. and like in addition to other events that are happening on the corridor in August. But I'll make sure that that's like the highlighted volunteer activity, because usually when we do our newsletters, it's like events and volunteer opportunities.
Right.
I
Thank you,
will,
Alex.
we'll make sure to finish that tonight then. And then we're sending out postcards to every single address in ANC 1E. But if you know of any businesses that have like bulletin boards to advertise for events, we'll have a bunch of extra postcards because of how the vendor bills for batches of postcards. So if you know of any places that, would be good to stick up a postcard advertising the event, then we can do that too.
PVRC,
What'd you say?
PVRC, the Parkview Rec Center.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had not heard that abbreviation before.
Yeah. So yeah. And Josh, to your question about the sun, so we also considered the sun because it's going to be hot and sunny that day. No rain. It's 10ish, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's the, oh gosh, it's the odd side that's shady.
The east side?
And yeah, the even side is less, yeah, it's less shady, but there are a lot of trees on that side as well. So I
Oh,
think
true.
we'll be okay. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Commissioner Grant, I just had one or two questions. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. First thing, I would hate to see all this great effort just be temporary. So I was curious if there was any thought to maybe like fencing or things like that to keep the dirt mounds and the mulch in. So on the first big rain, that doesn't just all wipe everything away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thought about it. It's tricky. In fact, Josh, we were just talking about that yesterday, and DDOT said that we can't put permanent things in the tree boxes. I'm not sure that applies to that, like the little plastic ones that are
Yeah.
only just about yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm afraid if we ask, they'll say no, but if we go ahead and put them in, once they're down, we probably won't. I mean, at worst, they'll make us take them out, right?
Yeah.
But we did think about that. We did think about that. Some of the tree boxes already appear to have a well,
Yeah.
and it looks as though the mulch will stay, but not all of them do. Yeah, we have thought
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the next question is just pure naivete on my part, but I didn't know if there's any, when you said you were going to ask sort of the Van Ness project and maybe DDOT for any tips or recommendations, if there was any thought on sort of how to make these tree boxes, if not rat proof, at least sort of discourage rat nesting. Just because I used to live downtown and the business, what do you call it? The group that cleans up the business tree boxes, and they planted all these beautiful flowers, and then they just turned into these big rats nests, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any sort of tips and tricks that could help, if there's certain plants that discourage or encourage rat use or anything like that.
That is such a great question. There are certain plants that rats absolutely hate. They hate strong smelling plants like catmint or yeah, I catmint is what it's called. You see it all over the place. It's a really strong, hardy native plant that's perennial. They hate rosemary. We're not going to plant rosemary, from my knowledge. They hate marigolds. Anything that smells really strong. So we can certainly explore that. I hadn't considered other types of strategies. I'm not really, aside from certain plants, I'm not aware of any methods, but we can certainly talk to Kathy about that. That's another valid question. I would also say that another thing that we can do is remove the grass from those tree boxes. I showed you that one tree box that had all that grass.
Yeah.
There are several in the blocks that we've identified to replant on tree day. And getting that grass out, I think, is an important step in terms of
Yeah.
deterring the rat. I know I'm not looking forward. That's why I'm trying to do it beforehand, but an avid gardener wouldn't care. But yeah, we need to get that grass out. we need to get that grass out. Totally agree.
Great. Just wanted to see if that
Great
was something to think about.
questions. Thank
Thanks.
you. Mhm.
Any other questions or comments?
Right.
All right, I will share the RSVP survey so folks can tell me what is missing. You seeing the survey?
Yes.
Great. So name, email, whether or not someone will be attending. Gives them a single select option for how many people they're RSVPing for in case they're RSVPing for, their family or a larger group of people. Experience that they have with gardening. So again, single select, I am ready to learn, some personal or volunteer experience, and then regular gardening, landscaping, or maintenance experience, just so we can figure out, if we are working on 5 tree boxes, for example, we're not putting all the newbies together. I'm one of those newbies, and I do not want to have to try to figure out the tree box by myself, if I'm being honest. In terms of activities that folks would be helpful or comfortable helping with, would especially love feedback here if I've captured everything. So planting flowers or other plants, litter and debris removal, reading and checking in volunteers, distributing supplies, preparing tree boxes ahead of time. I suppose we need to
I
add
would
in
add
mulching.
digging dirt. Yeah, well, that and turning dirt and removing weeds, turning soil, removing weeds, weed removal, weed and grass removal. I maybe just say weed and grass removal.
Yeah, because I feel like mulching, maybe we don't need to add that in specifically.
Yeah, mulching is pretty basic.
Anything else?
No, I can't think of anything else right now.
Other folks?
And the meeting location is still going to be Bruce Monroe, right? Or do we?
Yes,
Okay.
I should put that up here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because what reminded me of it was the volunteer checking in volunteers. Like, I'm assuming that's where they would be checked in at the park.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Josh Logan had a comment in the chat section on whether they are willing to ask if people have their own gardening supplies.
Well, you're getting to the next question.
Right.
Are you able to bring any tools to the event? This is not required, but it's helpful for planning purposes. We definitely need a shovel. I am going back and forth on if we need to ask for weed whackers, because I don't think there are that many boxes with giant weeds. Broom, water can, gardening gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a gardener, but Audra, is a rake more helpful than a broom, or maybe
I
not?
think a rake is more helpful. Both.
Both are
I
okay.
think you need a rake and a broom.
Okay.
Brooms are helpful if we need to clean up the sidewalk. Rakes are
Yeah,
helpful for getting
that's
stuff
true.
out.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Should I just remove the weed whacker, or do we think there might be cases where we want it?
You can help if somebody has one. Why
Yeah, that's
not?
fair. Yeah. Okay.
Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
I just want to reorganize these. Can I do that? Yes. So I think we'd probably go as gardening gloves.
And Josh, maybe a hand trowel, little hand shovel. Some people call them a hand garden trowel, TROWEL, hand shovel / trowel.
Large shovel versus hand shovel.
Yeah, a spade, there's the large spade that you need to turn soil. And then there are the small hand shovels or hand trowels. We refer to both. And that's TROWEL.
It doesn't want me to edit it right now for whatever reason.
Okay.
I have another question or wanted to get feedback on this.
In the
Do you
chat.
think that this form is potentially an appropriate place to pose the question about adopting um a tree box? Yeah, but specifically for business owners. So for example, like if we like, are you a business owner? Would you be willing to adopt a tree block? And then like because that's its own section, I can also send out literally like just an announcement to my news, like we can promote it just to businesses. I mean, I often promote things just to businesses and not to the broader like community newsletter, um to see if that's like another way to reach businesses.
I'm just trying to think like is a way to do this so we don't have to have duplicate questions, but maybe we just need to have duplicate questions.
Yeah, or like if there's a way to combine it where they identify like, are you a resident? Are you a business owner? What's your business, et cetera? Or I don't know, but just a thought.
Yeah. Is it better to have like a yes and I'm a business owner? Oh, I went the wrong way. Yes, and I am a business owner.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am a resident.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am part of an interested organization.
Yeah.
Does that work?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, this really doesn't want to hand shovel, large shovel. Can I just
For
delete
the
this one?
tools, have you all reached out to DPW to see if they could also help with some of these items during the
That
cleanup?
is on my list. I think they can
Uh-huh.
provide rakes and sometimes hand pickers, and they can definitely provide trash bags.
Trash bags for sure.
Were you just thinking of the Helping Hands program? Because that's the one that I know of,
Yeah.
Maricela.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can reach out to that. Okay. Weed whacker maybe goes near the bottom.
Yeah. Looks good.
I will reorder them later. And then just asking if there's a specific tree box people want to improve during the event. Just in case someone's super passionate about one close to them. I guess the only downside to this is if someone chooses one that's really far away, then you
Yeah,
might
they
not
might
want to.
choose one on on their interior street, which you know,
Yeah, we can always, I guess if someone answers this, we can always email them and say, hey, we're going to focus on this area. Is that okay? Or do you just want to come get supplies for yours? Or yeah.
okay.
Anything else we should be asking?
Should we ask if people are okay with lifting heavy items? I mean, I don't know what would be super heavy, but just lifting in general.
Yeah, Josh, is this where you want to ask people to volunteer to do any other things like transport items, lift items, or carry items, transport items?
Transporting
Yeah,
items
and
before the event need
or
to be able to.
during or before, whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
How much does a bag of mulch usually weigh?
I sent you the pic. I can. Let me see what I sent you. I'll look that up.
20 to 40 pounds, a 2 cubic foot bag. So let's say 40 pounds.
Same with the soil.
Um,
Yeah, 20 to 50 pounds. Wow. Okay. Okay.
That's a good idea, Logan. We can ask them if they have ideas for other projects.
Love that. And do you mean beautification projects, Logan? For the corridor, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it just does not want to cooperate.
Do it later. I mean, we
Yeah,
have it. I mean, we know what you're going to put, so you just
I
add
just
it
don't want to
later.
forget it, but I'm going to put it elsewhere and come back to it.
Okay, I can send in the chat.
What else? Alice, what time are you going to send out your newsletter?
I mean, like ideally I'd like to send it out by like COB tomorrow, just so that I can get
That's
the
fine.
like other events that are happening like as early as Thursday so that there's a little time. But because I'm gonna try to capture a bunch of different things in this newsletter. But yeah, as long as you send it like if you can send it before 4 p.m. tomorrow, that would be ideal if you think you can.
Yeah, I guess, do you need any like graphic for it, or you just need the
No,
survey
no, I
link,
would
or?
just, yeah, it would just be, I mean, the
Oh,
graphic that I would use probably would be just like a small picture of like the flyer that you probably have already mailed out or are about to mail out. But, and then I know you'll send me something different that I can like actually post on Instagram. But this is just going to be like an email that you get. I'm sure you get my newsletters anyway. So it'll just be like a little like thumbnail type image in an email. But it'll have a link to this. Like that's the main point is just the link embedded.
this is the awkward part where I'm realizing I do not get your newsletter. I probably
I'm
should.
certain I feel like my list feed has like every ANC member on it. Like I'm sure it's in there, but if not, I'll send you the sign up.
Cool.
Oh, thank you, Michael, for that. Yes, that sounds familiar. I'm gonna write that down. And go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. You first, Josh.
I was just going to move on to the economic development piece that is not related to this. So we
Yep,
should
that's fine.
wrap up this whenever. Yeah.
I
I
don't
guess
have
any
anything to
other,
add to this
okay.
project. Yeah.
Any comments or questions or other things for the beautification day?
Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope to see a lot of you there. And it's okay if you can't make it, but I'm not a gardener and I'll be there. So, and then just for the more general economic development piece, I've been chatting with a few folks, and one thing that we want to try to do is a survey of folks that own the vacant property along Georgia Avenue to understand what is the thing that's holding them back from having a more productive use of their property. Don't really know what sort of answers that we'd get, but this is something that planning schools have done in the past. And so Sarah, who's on the committee, is following up with her school to see if they can have like one of their, I think they call them salons or something, where they spend a semester working on a particular project and could have their project be like understanding vacancies along Georgia Avenue and figuring out what would it take for those business owners or those property owners to get what they need to have something more productive. In some cases, from like some initial conversations, it's, you know, the interior is a mess and they don't have the money to spend to get it into a better spot. So maybe there are resources through that 400 grand fund that we'll be seeing later this year, sometime next year. And some are, trying to do more of a redevelopment and just don't have the funds right now. So trying to understand, just do an inventory of the entire corridor and figure out what the gaps are and see if there's anything that we can be advocating for to help change that.
I like that idea.
And this is not exactly related, but it's not unrelated. There's a WhatsApp chat for Georgia Avenue Thrive. I've been working on a relaunch of a website for Georgia Avenue Thrive and helping come up with a block captain model, or really iterating on the block captain model that they've created in the past and making it a little easier for folks to get contact information for their neighbors and come up with volunteer opportunities. So if you are not in that WhatsApp, you're welcome to just email me and I can get the link to you.
Yep.
Otherwise, the Georgia Avenue Thrive website is now, let me just make sure I get the link right. It's not fully ready, but this is a start. And we'll have a news feed on there. So if anyone wants to write up about, businesses that are new to the corridor, or do like an interview with a business or things like that, there would be an opportunity to post things there.
Okay.
All right, that's all I had.
Josh, one quick question for Alice. Alice, are there any events coming up soon? Did I hear the chili cook-off is happening imminently?
September 20th.
Oh, it's not until the 20th. Okay.
Yeah, September
Great.
20th. So we're still recruiting businesses to participate. I've given them until the 21st of this month to let me know.
Okay.
They're all procrastinating. But yeah. But the website is the event page is already live, and I think there was already like a media Josh, I don't remember who it was from this ANC, but someone reached out like after you guys gave me the grant money to like do some kind of announcement about it. And then that's when I sent the link with the event page
Great.
and like the like blurb and little snippet about like why it's a beloved event.
Yeah. It's been around for a while. We had it last year at Doubles in their back
Yeah,
area.
that's where it's going to be this year. It's going to be, it's going to be co-hosted by No Kisses and Sunnies again, just because it's kind of an easy layout for us. And they were
Yes.
very, very, they're very generous with their space and cooperative. So
That's great. That's
yeah.
good news.
And we've posted it on, I mean, we've been promoting it on our Instagram account beyond just our website, and we'll continue to promote it. I'm hoping that once we have like, a solid number of businesses participating by the end of this month, it'll be easier to promote with the businesses that are, the contestants, and that'll be, that'll get more engagement. But yeah.
Good.
Do you have judges picked out already, Alice?
We have one, and I've reached out to Albert Ting, who I think it would also did the photography last year or 2 years ago. I think Teresa from Howard has talked about her interest, but I haven't done any like um, official sort of outreach with that. But if anyone if anyone on the ANC is interested, please let me know. I know many of you have been judges before, so please let me know if you're interested.
I'll be a judge. I had fun.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I was just going to say, if you're still looking, what some of the other
Well, Josh, if you
orgs
want
that
to do it, you do it. Go
No,
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
am not a good judge. No.
There's a first time for everything. So
No. I am sorry.
Go
I
for
am a
it.
good judge. I am not a good judge for this event because I am vegan. So I'm gonna have like
Oh.
2 of the chilies.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I was gonna say there's gonna be at least one vegan chili represented because Cane and Coconut is participating. So
Right, but then I have the one vegan chili and my
I
vote
know.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Okay. Well, we appreciate
what I
the
was
candor.
what I was going to say is what I've seen other groups do in the past is just like find people with big social media followings.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think that's kind of why we're holding off on like exactly how we're doing our judge outreach, but I know like from my perspective, I wanted to first reach out to like the people within the corridor that have been like supporting the event and you
Yeah.
know, kind of stuff, but I do know that I think in the past they had I'm forgetting his name, but the gentleman who runs like Prince of Petworth, I think he might have done it when Midlands hosted it at one point.
Yeah, he
So
did. I was
yeah,
there too. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I'm having a meeting, another chili cook-off meeting with my team on Wednesday. So I'll know more information about what our judging recruitment strategy is by then. But yeah, look out if you look out for potential emails from me to see who else wants to be judges.
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else from anyone else? Well, thanks everyone for joining tonight. Just a reminder, the event is on August 29th. It's a Saturday. The rain date is the following day, Sunday. I will make sure to get the rain date in the RSVP form as well. And hopefully the postcards hit mailboxes sometime early next week, which will give folks like a week and a half notice, which isn't
Okay.
as early as I wanted, but it's also good just for folks to get postcards from the ANC because then they learn about us and we don't have to do
So
postcards as
Josh, one
frequently.
small thing about the survey, put in the title, you just said beautification day, maybe tree box beautification day, so people know what they're getting into. Does it say tree box?
Yeah, it doesn't, but I think we had this debate where I showed it to some people that didn't know what tree boxes were, and then they're like, "I think I'm gonna plant some trees."
Oh,
So
oh,
I
okay,
think we can
great.
put it.
Okay, that's fine.
I want to
Okay,
like keep it general, and then I can do more descriptive in the
got it.
description area.
Oh, good. So make, yeah, as long as that's great, I think that needs to be in here somewhere. It's fine. No problem. And we're going for it when it started at 11, right? Or do we say
Yep,
10? 11. Okay, great.
yep,
Then I'll get
and that's on the flyer, so too late to change that.
wonderful. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Have a good rest of
much.
your night.